It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back to it, your Feel Good Breakfast Show, the start of a brand new week. Monday morning, live, large and in charge, and so good to be with you. It's time for us to chat relationships right now. That's how we do on this, at this time at least, of a Monday morning. Now, when we are in relationships, we can fluctuate between two modes. One, admiring when our partner engages with other people and experiencing how others perceive them. And when the thought of them just even speaking to another person just makes your blood boil. Now, knowing when each of these modes is beneficial to a relationship can result in either, of course, the ensuing jealousy, and you can use that jealousy for either greater good or the greater worst.
So this morning we're asking, are there benefits to getting jealous in your relationship? How do we distinguish between healthy and unhealthy jealousy? And our relationship expert, we know, is Dr. Eve. She's in the building to help us discuss this really hot topic, and our lines, they remain open throughout. So do call in on 021-430-9881 with your questions or comments, and we will engage with you. Remember, it's a safe space, so you're more than welcome to call in and be anonymous. Anybody can give us a call.
Absolutely. Dr. Eve, a very interesting topic. Yes, how are you feeling after the exercise? Are you all
I'm exhausted.
gathered?
But also, it's your birthday, so before we even get into it, just like, let's be light for us for a moment. It's your birthday on Wednesday. Happy birthday for that.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely aging.
Definitely gracefully at that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
All
you.
right, so let's begin by starting to define jealousy and maybe discussing what it is that leads us to feel that emotion of jealousy.
Has an evolutionary purpose, a positive evolutionary purpose, because if we didn't feel jealous, we'd all be rampaging all over the show, spreading lots of sperm, and we would never know who belonged to who. So jealousy creates something called mate guarding. We have to feel a certain amount of jealousy so we can guard our mate so that they feel there's a belonging. But, you know, how porous is this boundary of guarding? That's what we're talking about today. Is yours too rigid, where it's harmful, or is it too porous, where you really don't feel that there's any claiming or belonging by this other person, and then you are much more likely to go out of that boundary. So jealousy is an evolutionary need, it's an instinctive thing, it's something which is really positive, but it also can be deadly. And we in South Africa know too well how deadly it is because we've got such a high rate of intimate partner violence. So when we think about the definition of jealousy, there are about three elements that are part of that. Anger, sadness, competition. We feel as if we're in competition, competing with somebody. We feel an enormous amount of sadness, and we feel anger, this welling up anger that we can't control, and that's where the danger of it comes in, where it becomes unhealthy because you're living in the anger of it way too much, and you're unable to control the emotion of fear and sadness that goes around it.
It's a concoction of emotion.
I love the way you're leaning forward. It's like you're
to hear
really
more,
engaged.
to hear
I love
more.
it.
So
I love
engaging
it.
that
I love
it's
how you do
true.
that. Thank you.
Well, we definitely set the tone in terms of what this type of conversation needs to be and what it has to be in terms of what the benefits are of jealousy in a relationship. And Dr. Eve, we're still going to be chatting to you about it. Our lines remain open. Give us a call, 021-430-9881. How do you distinguish positive from negative jealousy in a relationship? Dr. Eve is still here with us.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, listen, the conversations we're having off cam are just as interesting. We will involve you in them. We want you to be involved in them. 021-430-9881. We're talking about jealousy in relationships. How much of it is healthy? How much of it is unhealthy? We have our first caller on the line. This is Liesel from Cape Town. Good morning, Liesel.
Good morning.
Hi, Liesel.
Morning.
Oh,
Good morning, everybody.
So good to have you with us. What's your comment or question?
Okay, so my question is, I have a daughter of 8 years old, and who obviously forms part of our relationship, my husband and I, and my daughter. And I find her to be extremely jealous of my husband maybe speaking too long to another female. This weekend we had a party. He was dancing maybe a little bit too provocatively with my sister-in-law, but a bit of fun, and she didn't see it that way at all. And she was completely broken about the fact that they were dancing together on the dance floor. And it's quite disturbing because it actually, for 2 hours of the party, we had to sit down and calm, and everybody had to try and speak to her. And she was just screaming out, "Yes, Daddy's cheating. He's cheating on you." In the meantime, I was standing right there watching the dance and, clapping and just having that normal adult fun, which to her probably wasn't.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
So
Liesl?
it is extremely bad. It's not only just this party.
Yeah.
She even gets really upset when he likes a female singer. And then she gets angry. "Oh, you love her more than mommy."
So
Yeah.
essentially, are we saying, I mean, listening to this, that those feelings of jealousy are brought about from a very young age?
Yeah, I mean, Freud
for
would have a
instance.
great time with this, because that's what, the whole Freudian Oedipal complex thing going on, Electra complex going on over here. With Liesl, just to say, I think it's a great segue into talking about what this jealousy is. Why do people get jealous, or who gets jealous? Just to say to Liesl that this is quite extreme, and that I hope that you just really give great attention to your daughter and what she's really trying to say to you. And this is going to lead me into what is the core of jealousy, is usually very low self-esteem, low self-image, low poor body image, a feeling of real insecurity in a relationship. So, Liesl, you want to be checking in with your daughter, or checking in, why is it that she feels such insecurity within the family? Also, is she hearing or being exposed to infidelity? Maybe she's got a friend or somebody in the family. She's afraid, because infidelity, what she's really saying is, I'm scared that Dad and Mom are going to get divorced, or Dad's going to go off with somebody else. So she's doing what I was talking about, which is the mate guarding. She's trying to mate guard you and mate guard Dad, to make sure that Dad doesn't go off with your sister-in-law. So she's showing signs of insecurity and maybe just not feeling good about whatever's going on in your relationship. So check into that. Don't ignore it. I think it's a great warning sign to you to listen and be attentive to her.
Oh, Dr. Eve, thank you for that. Okay, thanks for a great call, Liesl. Our lines will remain open. More with Dr. Eve after the break. 021-430-9881. It's quite heated. It's an important conversation to have. It speaks to the fact that jealousy in relationships isn't limited to romantic relationships.
Exactly.
It's families, it's friends, it's all the people that we love, that we have around us. But we'll be chatting about it more after the break.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Monday morning, live, large and in charge. And of course, relationship talk time. And you can join in the conversation. 021-430-9881. Dr. Eve is here to answer your questions, take your comments. And there have been some very interesting ones on social media as well. If we have a look on Facebook here, Josephine saying, love this topic. It can be a good and a bad thing to be jealous.
Right.
Skinny D MP says, this topic has me glued to my TV. And I also want to know how I can deal with this type of emotion. I've lost so many relationships because of jealousy.
Oh, shame. So I'm going to give you Skinny D.
Yeah, MP.
MP, Skinny D MP. Sounds kind of cool.
Sounds like a car registration, but yeah.
Okay, we all have different perceptions. So I'm going to give you the acronym of SIFT. SIFT.
Okay.
You want to be completely aware of controlling your emotions. So be aware of your sensations. You want to be able to sift your sensations. You want to be aware of your intense feelings and your emotions as you are experiencing a relationship. And you want to be able to sift through these emotions as they pop up for you, and learn how to do breath work. You need a lot of mindfulness training, breath work, to be able to control it, because it might be a perception that this person is betraying me, or this one is being too flirtatious, or this one's spending too much time on Facebook, and it might not be real, so you want to check in with your person all the time.
Yeah. And why, Dr. Eve, is it so difficult, and why do people feel so ashamed to admit when they are jealous, when they feel jealous?
It's true that is it, because it's not a nice feeling. We don't like ourselves in that environment, and we begin to isolate, and we begin to become like these witchy people who are screaming and nagging and needy, and none of us like to feel needy. And it is coming across as I am being very needy because I'm asking for a lot of attention. I want us to first of all, to go give attention to the poll that I put up. So anyone who still wants to participate in that, please do that. Kat will bring it up, I'm sure, just
there
now.
it is. We have it. So where you asked here, do you think jealousy is consuming, destructive and necessary to keep a partner close by? Do you think that it is healthy or unhealthy? So 29% of people said it is healthy. Wow. 54% said unhealthy, and 17% said unsure of the difference.
Of the difference between healthy and unhealthy. So let's talk about the difference between healthy and unhealthy. Healthy jealousy is, I think I've explained, when you're able to control your emotions. And when you feel it, because they'll come, the little green-eyed monster will be there, it just shows that you care for somebody. I think it's quite a compliment, that you actually feel enough caring or attachment to somebody to care that you may lose them. So that's the healthy part of it. The unhealthy part is the control element around it. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who is controlling you by financially, telling you what you can and you can't spend your money on, from a physical point of view of how you dress, that's always a big one. Oh, I don't think you should wear that. Men towards women, you're revealing too much, or that looks too sexy. Let's also just put it into a context. Sorry, I'm going off at a tangent here. That historically women have always been the possession of men. And unfortunately in this country, which is why we have such a high rate of intimate partner violence, we've got a very strong patriarchy, which means that men still feel entitled to have ownership of women in particular. So that would be a real red flag to you if you as a woman are feeling that he's beginning to control my behavior or telling me what to wear or who I should be talking to. Or if he or she is saying to you, why don't you tell me everything that you did in your day? That's going to be a bit of a red flag for you. Like, do you need to share every single thought or idea? That they always want to accompany you wherever you're going out. So what you do is you begin to narrow your world and isolate yourself more and more so that you don't displease your partner and have those conflicts. Because when there's jealousy, the conflict is escalated.
Before we break it, a quick yes or no answer to this one. Is being jealous a true indication of that the person loves you and they really are so devoted to you or not? Yes or no? I know that it's deeper than that. But
no, I can be quite clear around that. No.
Okay.
No,
so jealousy doesn't necessarily mean...
It is not a sign of love.
All right, listen, 021-430-9881. The lines will remain open for our continued conversation with Dr. Eve around the topic of jealousy. Talking fish into...
I thought we were singing AKA.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Listen, I'm a disaster right now.
Things are falling apart.
You know why? Because as we continue to explore this conversation of jealousy and we're talking about... a part of it has been like kind of romanticized. Labyrinth has a song that says, I'm jealous of the rain that falls upon your skin. It's closer than I've ever been. I'm jealous of the rain. But then on the other flip side of that, it could be a very, very ugly emotion that leads us to...
You've mentioned that, Kat, that it's romanticized. That it's almost like we expected to feel that. And if I don't get those jealous reactions from you, you don't love me, or it's not a good enough relationship.
Wow.
When you really, that's a great point you raised. Where you really need to be saying, well, what is the way this person cares for me?
Yes.
Or is there something else that I long for in this relationship that I'm not actually getting? And ask for that rather than behave in this expected, jealous way that will indicate to you love or specialness.
And partners sometimes maybe acting out of character in order to provoke this jealousy that they want from their partners to show some kind of affection. Or, do you love me enough? Don't you see what I'm doing?
Oh,
is this not enough?
Oh, goodness.
What are the ways in which we can observe our jealousy and observe the fact that it may be heading into the territory of being unhealthy or irrational? What steps do we take in terms of observing that?
The sifting method, like you said.
Was that the sifting?
So if that is I don't know. I mean, I'd love to hear from our viewers if anybody is struggling with their own feelings of feeling jealous.
Well, we might actually be getting something along those lines right now. Anonymous is on the line. A very good morning, Anonymous.
Good morning, Kaklefel. Good morning, Dr. Eve and everybody else.
Hi,
I listen to you guys now. And, you know, I think I have a similar thing here. I was married for 17 years and 10 months. And my ex-husband told me the reason why he messed around is because I wasn't jealous enough. And I felt there should be trust, so why should I be jealous?
Wow. Wow,
That's an
a handy
extraordinary thing.
excuse.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a handy excuse.
Yeah,
Well,
a
you weren't
strong
jealous
one,
enough,
too.
so therefore I went out and cheated because you weren't jealous enough.
Yeah.
And you're not in this relationship anymore, are you?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that,
17
especially after
years and
17
10
years.
No,
months.
you don't have to be sorry, Kaklefel. I am very pleased with my life at this moment.
Yes, ma'am.
But I mean, so many times people get, you know, they lose one another. I mean, that is stupidity. But you're
Yeah, I think that...
jealous enough.
Yeah.
So, sure, I'm not even quite sure like how to lead up to
Yeah.
because it's just as definitive as that. That was plain stupidity. But I guess a call then to partners. Or how would you describe that?
Yeah.
What's the story there?
I do think that it's a handy excuse
Yeah.
to cheat because people have choice around cheating. But we don't know the husband's side. Maybe he was saying to Anonymous all the time, I'm really needing more attention. I'm really feeling neglected. Because people usually give signs, especially women, before they cheat because it's a really difficult thing to do. And they will say, you know what, this person's noticing me a lot, or this person's really giving me a lot of compliments. And that's like an indication of I'm feeling neglected. And I really wish that people would rather ask for what they wanted. You know, I'm feeling neglected, or I'd like more from you, than cheating.
Yeah.
And maybe he never spoke to her about it and just cheated. And that's no good because, we're going to talk about the impact of technology and what that's done to jealousy, because that's brought another whole level of control into the world. Another whole level.
Yeah.
Because,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a great bit of research that was done around Facebook. And they looked at Facebook and jealousy. And they found that couples people who are insecure will be absolutely controlling on Facebook. So they will be watching, surveilling their partner's Facebook page on a daily level. And I really want to do a shout out to our viewers. Please refrain from doing that. If you're feeling insecure, if you've got low self-esteem, if you don't feel secure in the relationship, talk to your partner about it rather than getting onto their social media and checking that out, because it's such an invasion of privacy. And also, you know, we know that what people are posting is different from how they feel in real life.
Preach.
Yeah.
All right,
Well.
with that, I think that is the last of the conversations that we'll be having on this Monday morning. But of course, feel free to engage with Dr. Eve, as you can see on social media, at @dr_Eve, for all things relationships. And of course, we'll do this again next week, Monday. And until then, thanks, babe.
Rachel Kolisi, take notes.
Hey!